The worst protagonist in anime by Stormlight. So who truly is the worst protagonist in anime? Some would say Boruto. Some would say maybe even Goku. Who knows? But honestly, this guy. I never really like this guy, especially if you hear what he did in the manga or whatever. Kind of weird, but anime is decent though. Anyway, let's see who's the worst protagonist in anime.
When you think about anime characters that you hate, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Is it an annoying trait of their personality, an egregious design?
I mean, yeah, Sanji's bleed noses, they are pretty annoying. And if you don't like Sanji for that, I can understand. But come on, man, Sanji's still so cool. Diable Jambe doing all the bits, and he's still fire. I still like him. I just choose to ignore the annoying part of his personality.
Or their role in ruining an already established relationship. Whatever it is, you're probably justified in feeling that way. Anime is filled to the brim with characters of every possible personality and
yeah, Zenitsu, I never liked Zenitsu, I can't lie to you. Bro was too annoying. I don't like the coward trope, and it's just annoying. It's just pissing me off. And the fact that he has to go to sleep to even cook is stupid. It shows no bravery. Yes, finally he locked in later on a little bit in the movie, but he's still an L machine in my opinion. Like there's again, I forgot his name, but the guy, it was done. The same cowardly thing was done better in Frieren when the guy, he's also afraid, but he's fully awake. He's fully confronting his demons. He's scared, but he's still fighting regardless. All Zenitsu does is yell, cry, and whine. F tier character.
archetype, so naturally, you're bound to find one you just can't stand. But has there ever been that one character you're just a hater of, the one who could never redeem themselves in your eyes?
All my Rachel haters rise.
No matter what. For me, there are a few, but none of them come to mind more often than Sora Misoshino. If you don't know who that is, don't worry, most people don't. The only exposure people have to the anime is the openings and this godforsaken scene. So let me catch up to speed. Sora Misoshino is the protagonist of the 2017 anime Recreators, a reverse isekai that was kind of a pioneer of its time. Despite having a really interesting premise and some solid ideas, the show ends up being overshadowed by its flaws, and the biggest one of all is its main character. He's not just a bad character, I'd actually go one step further and say that Sora Misoshino is the worst protagonist in anime.
Have any of you guys seen this anime? I've never even heard of it, and I watch anime pretty involved. I know quite a lot of anime, quite involved, and I've just never heard of this one. Maybe, I don't know, yeah.
Period. But before we talk about the character in question, I feel like it's important to provide context of why the story sets him up this way. So, for those unfamiliar, Recreators is a reverse isekai where anime and video game characters literally pop out of their stories into the real world. Soda, a high schooler and aspiring writer, gets pulled into an anime called Elemental Symphony after his tablet glitches. There, he meets the heroine Celestia and witnesses her fight a mysterious girl in a military uniform.
That's actually kind of an interesting premise, reverse isekai. I've never actually watched any anime like that. Obviously, isekai, they get to the world, but now they're in this world. It could have been good. I wonder why it didn't succeed.
When Soda and Celestia return to reality, they discover that other fictional characters have appeared too, each reacting differently to learning their world was created by humans. Some ally with Soda, while others join the military uniform princess, who plans to rewrite reality itself. In simpler terms, Recreators is what happens when anime characters get tired of your fanfic and jump out of the screen to yell at you for writing their trauma. One day this dude Soda accidentally brings a bunch of fictional heroes and villains into reality, and suddenly everything's fucked. Then there's Alter, the ultimate my OC can beat your OC character trying to destroy reality. It's part action show, part existential crisis for anyone who's ever written a story, and 100% super anime. The frustrating part is that it's actually super interesting, albeit a messed up concept. On paper, it's sick, but when you dig deeper, that's where everything starts to fall apart. And it all starts and ends with the main character, Soda. So what exactly makes him the worst protagonist in anime? Well, let me explain. When you normally criticize an anime character, namely a protagonist, it's because they have one really annoying aspect of their personality that
Takemichi got slander, went crazy back in the day. Bro always got slandered for being a weak MC, never cooking, never fighting. But hey, I actually liked Takemichi. Bro wasn't so bad, He may have been weak, but he was fighting for what he believed in. And he's actually put in the effort, unlike Zenitsu, just crying, whining, and being a pussy. Takemichi actually through hands, even though he lost, he at least put in the effort. That's what I need to see. I need to see bravery, effort.
Rubs you the wrong way. And I just want to preface by saying this is completely normal. Just like how we go along in our daily lives, it's impossible to like everybody we come across, because by the end of the day, it's ultimately subjective. But when it comes to Soda, I think you, by the end of the video, would agree with me that he has no redeemable qualities at all. First and foremost, just look at him! I've never seen a more uninspired character design in anime, period. If you sat this boy down in a crowd of NPC anime characters, you would not be able to tell the fucking difference. And it's not like there's any reason for this, like it is in Re:Zero, where it's a play on a genre or a logical thing of the world. No, here, the writer just got fucking lazy and was like, you know what, the people watch enough Isekai and Eroge, we know what works. Like, there's not even an attempt made here, at least when anime have dogshit designs in them. At least they tried, but this is actually some BS. He was so bland, I remember him being bland. Motherfucker, do you know how bland of a character you have to be for me to remember that? And this—
Nah, don't put the chef guy on the screen when you say dog shit designs. Bro's design is not dog shit. Bro, that goofy chef was actually funny and entertaining. Just because he doesn't look super handsome or nothing doesn't mean his design is bad. He serves his purpose as a goofy, fun chef for Sanji to defeat.
This is especially offensive since all the other characters in the show have amazing designs. It sticks out like a sore thumb, and it's a perfect mirror of what his inside is like. Hollow. He's one step away from being a hentai protagonist, and that's one step too close to the red line. Now let's get to the bread and butter of why I fucking hate this character. I think what I despise the most about this show is how Soda's design pretends to be innocent. He looks like the definition of a good kid. On the surface, he's just your average, harmless Japanese high school student. But that's exactly what makes it worse. Because that look, that soft, unassuming design, it's a disguise, a lie. It tricks you into thinking he's the kind of protagonist you should root for. The shy, awkward creative who's just trying his best. But what makes Soda truly unforgivable isn't how he looks. It's what he did. I'm talking about his so-called friendship with Setsuna. Now, if you've seen Recreators, you already know where this is going. If you haven't, buckle up. Soda and Setsuna were friends, or at least they were supposed to be. They first met online after she commented on one of his drawings, and from there, they just clicked. They started exchanging messages, sharing art, and hyping each other up. Two creative kids dreaming about making something great together. They became best friends, aspiring to rise to the top. For a while, it was pure, that kind of creative bond where every message feels like a spark, every drawing feels like a collaboration waiting to happen. Soda finally had someone who understood him, who got what it meant to chase ideas that nobody else cared about. And for Setsuna, he was one of the few people who saw her not just as talented, but as a person. They pushed each other to improve, celebrated each other's wins, and talked like they were both destined to make it big someday. But as Setsuna's talent started getting recognition, her art blowing up online, collaborations with bigger creators, Soda couldn't handle it. She progressed, making a name for herself, while he remained stagnant. She was better than him, but still throughout, Setsuna reached out to him, because she still wanted him to be a part of it, because this was a dream they both shared. After all, he was her best friend. But Soda saw it differently. He wasn't happy for her. The admiration turned into envy, the messages slowed down, and eventually he just stopped talking to her. And
damn, oh man, what a loser already. You can tell when someone's in your life, you're doing good, you're up, and then they're just hating and envy. Bro, man, you have to support your friends. You'll get your time to shine, bro. Damn.
soon after that, rumors started to circulate. Accusations of plagiarism and online harassment spread everywhere, with news articles and forums tearing her apart before she could even defend herself. The backlash was intense, fans turned on her, she was harassed on social media, and her reputation was destroyed overnight. It was relentless, and as a 16-year-old, she had no idea of how to deal with this. She didn't know how to handle this much amount of hatred and negativity. And what did Soda do meanwhile this happened? Soda did nothing. He just watched as her life fell apart. Worse, he didn't just stand by and watch the hatred consume his best friend. He actually joined in, out of jealousy.
Okay, I'm starting to see the worst protagonist reasons. Damn.
He added fuel to the fire, posting cruel and thoughtless things about her online. The same girl who believed in him, and helped push the narrative that destroyed her. She called out to him for help, but he didn't answer, and she ultimately killed herself because of this. To me and many others, friends are the most important thing in your life. It's the family you choose, if you will. Many people
That is true. Me personally, my friends, they mean like everything to me. They help me push me forward. They're basically family to me. So to do this to basically your own family, yeah, bro is definitely up there in the worst protagonist. But what makes him the worst protagonist? We have to see.
People, myself included, value their friends over their own life. I would do anything for them. And to see somebody do this to someone this close to them when he knew she was suffering alone and couldn't defend herself nor handle the stress, it just makes me fume. I think what pisses me off the most is that he literally had no reason to do this. Imagine being this selfish and so far up your own ass that you would do this to the most important person in your life. I think the relatability of the situation makes it worse, because I know people who have been in similar situations, and even people who have passed because of it. And to see somebody treat such a serious topic with so little care and thought makes it appalling. Soda really went one step above the hentai protagonist, because what is this? Like, if I or any other person did this, they would not be able to live with themselves. But he can still look at himself in the mirror and get up every day. Yellow wig, slimy, no spine, no backbone, just the worst. And he has the audacity to sit there moping about how he feels guilty. Like, bro, you're not the victim here, you're the reason this happened. The show tries to make it about guilt and redemption, but it doesn't land, because by the time Soda decides to take responsibility, it's already too late. He let someone he cared about suffer because his ego couldn't handle their success. And what's funny is that the universe didn't just let him walk away from it. Because out of all that pain, all that silence, something was born. Something that refused to die with Setsuna. Her grief, her rage, her final wish for revenge, all of it took shape in the form of Altair, the very character she created. The same one that the internet once praised her for, before they turned on her. Altair wasn't just a character anymore. She became Setsuna's ghost, armed with every ounce of hatred the world threw at her, and every bit of guilt Soda tried to bury. And this is where the story picks up when he tries to right this wrong and defeat the personification of his guilt, while seeking redemption. But for what? Killing his best friend? It's such a vile act that bypasses all moral redemption. You, out of inability and guilt, helped your friend commit suicide, and now you want to play the hero and defeat her creation that rightfully wants to avenge an innocent girl which you turned on? But here's where it gets hilarious. The show knows he's like this. It straight up spells it out in his character description. Like, just take a look at this. A huge fan of anime and video games, Soda has the potential to be a creator. However, he's shy and quiet, and his feelings can get hurt easily. This is not something you want in your character description. Like, yeah, little bitch boy, the world is at stake, maybe man up a little so we can save it. And it doesn't even have the excuse that Shinji or other characters have. Like, Shinji has a reason to have a mental breakdown every 5 minutes, but Soda's just like and people will have the audacity to try and comparing others to Satan. And people will be like, Stormlight, but Kazuya. And trust me, I'm well aware, I've been reading Rent a Girlfriend since day one. But the difference is that it's made to be that way. Kazuya is a bitch by design, but Sato is a bitch by nature.
That's true. Kazuya is the worst. Rent a Girlfriend is actual trash. I watched season 1 and it was okay, I guess. And then now the author is just dragging it. The show, I can't believe the show has like 5 seasons about now. Keeps going, manga's still going. Just end the series. Let them get together and end it already. How many times are they gonna will they, won't they? Who's still reading and watching Rent a Girlfriend in 2026? If you are, please go and watch Real Peak.
Difference. Suffice to say, Soda is a character that does nothing besides being a soy boy. He never once tries to improve himself, and that's what really kills me about him. Not that he's weak, but that he chooses to stay weak. Like, bro, your friend's fanfic OC is literally trying to end the world, and you're sitting there acting like you just dropped your phone in the toilet. The issue is that his backstory is interesting and unique. He's actually a severely flawed main character. There's actually a really powerful foundation for a character. Guilt, regret, and creative envy are all amazing storytelling tools. The problem is, Recreators does absolutely nothing interesting with it. Soda spends most of the show just sulking. He doesn't grow, he doesn't take initiative, he doesn't even really interact meaningfully with the people around him until it's way too late. Every time someone dies or chaos breaks out, his contribution is just silence, a sad face, maybe a shaky apology. Like, my guy, you caused this, you literally summoned a god-tier villain into existence. The least you could do is act like it. And this isn't one of those slow burn redemption arcs where the payoff is worth it. No, this man stays emotionally constipated until the final episodes, and even then it feels unearned. It's like the writers wanted to make an introspective meta commentary about guilt and creation, but forgot to make it, you know, compelling. Meanwhile, every other character in the show is actually doing something. Celestia is struggling with her identity, Meteora is analyzing the meta logic of their worlds, Altair is waging war against reality itself, and Soda's just there, breathing, existing. It's almost poetic how the creator of Altair, this unstoppable goddess of destruction, is a guy who can't even stop himself from crying every 3 scenes. And here's where it gets worse, because his relationships don't make him any better, they just expose how useless he is. Every meaningful connection he has with Setsuna, Celestia, or even Meteora is carried entirely by the other person. They're the ones with conviction, courage, emotion. Soda's
Like, it sounds like this guy isn't showing any positive traits. Like, sure, we have a flawed MC, right? That works in a lot of ways. Doesn't have to be perfect. They can't all be my goats, Monkey D. Luffy. But in reality, they still have to show some positive traits of redemption that make people want to root for them. Like, take Takemichi. People don't hate on him because he's weak in MC and everything, but he displays courage and empathy and love for his friends. He's trying to make a better future. All this sounds like all this guy's doing is crying, whining, and he's a weak MC. He can't even cook, do that at least. All the worst traits, and doesn't sound like he's actually, and he's did a terrible action as well. Loki a scumbag for what he did to the best friend. Bro's cooked in all regards.
Just the emotional vacuum they have to orbit around, is the kind of protagonist that doesn't just fail to drive the story, he slows it down. And I get it, re-creators wanted to make him relatable to the average creator, the kind of person who doubts themselves, who's scared of their own imagination, but in trying to make him realistic, they forgot to make him interesting. He never properly reflects or has any introspection. It's like delving into a puddle, because the exploration of themes never goes beyond the surface. He's not the average creator, he's the average procrastinator, and when your whole show revolves around reality breaking characters questioning their existence, having the emotional depth of a damp towel for your lead is not a move. So yeah, Soda isn't just bad, he's narratively contagious. Every scene he's in feels like it loses energy, like someone just unplugged the anime. And it's like, is the story he's part of any better? No! Recreators wants to be a deconstruction of isekai, but somehow it leans into the exact same tropes that makes isekai trash. Like, congratulations, you reinvented a genre just to copy and paste all the cliches people are tired of. The show never goes deeper than the surface level gimmick of each character. They're not people, they're templates, just hollow archetypes walking around. It's like, hey, check out this gimmick character that you should care about. Like, bitch fucker, I barely know her. The only character who narrowly avoids the accusation is Altair, because she's actually a well-written character, but the rest of the cast is so fucking forgettable. There's only one memorable scene, and that you could attribute to the memes. The entire narrative hinges on you being invested in the connection between Altair, Setsuna, and Soda. But how are we supposed to care when Soda is written to be the most insufferable piece of shit ever? They made him the emotional core of the story, and then forgot to give him a personality. And this failure to capture the core connection is something felt throughout. The premise is interesting, even fun at first, but since you never build any genuine connection with the isekai characters, they all feel like bland and outdated, relics of archetypes that peaked in 2008. And this is even more of a disgrace because it was the author of Black Lagoon who wrote this. Seriously, Black Lagoon is known to be one of the greatest artistic achievements known to man. What happened?
Not my new interior. If you must, do it outside.
My English is not very good because I am pure Taiwanese. Maybe you'd like for me to skin your ass, bitch? You don't get it, do you?
The show remains one of the biggest.
That's a crazy dub. I've never seen Black Lagoon. Should I watch it?
What could have been an anime still, but Soda killed it before it could even walk. It's a fun watch, but it's the most 7 out of 10 anime I've ever seen. You know what's not a 7 out of 10 though? The music. Because for some unknown reason, Sawano decided to lock the fuck in. Seriously, the GOAT should have his own genre, because the style of incorporating heavy production industrial drums with screaming women just always hits. I still jam to those songs daily. The openings were so good, in fact, it tricked me into watching the entire show. And now I regret it. All in all, Soda encapsulates everything a main character should not be. He doesn't have a single redeeming quality. I didn't think you could go under Kiriko's belt with how bland of a character you can make, but he just went one step beyond. If Soda has 1 million haters, I'm one of them. If Soda has 1 hater, then it's me. And if Soda has no haters, then I'm dead.
Well, yeah, W video. This guy is terrible, it sounds like. shit MC, it looks like. But at least the villain was good. I bet bro, while bro was watching, I bet he was rooting for the villain to kill the main character. And you don't see that often in anime where you root for the enemy instead. So I'm rooting for the enemy instead. Not obviously don't destroy the world. Just slime the MC and go back to your house, innit? That's why I'm rooting for. But yeah, that was the video. Like, subscribe and all that good stuff. See ya.